Luke chapter 20, From Woods to Open Road. The living room held summer the way a good room does. Lamps low enough to soften the edges of the furniture, a candle on the coffee table throwing a thin gold edge on open Bibles, the window cracked just enough for cooler air. Couches and two well-worn armchairs made a loose circle. Mugs of tea and coffee steamed without hurry. A plate of simple cookies sat where anyone could reach without ceremony. 6 of them had gathered for the weekly study. They had just finished reading Luke chapter 20 aloud, stopping now and then when the temple exchanges sharpened, authority questioned, traps set, a coin held up under a watchful sky, a vineyard that turned deadly, the question about resurrection that tried to make eternity sound like a riddle. Jesus' answers had left the room quieter than the reading had found it. Grace Hahn set her Bible on her lap and did not close it. She had been with the group only a few months. Her voice, when she finally used it, was warm and honestly puzzled. "I have to ask something that's been sitting on me the last couple of weeks," she said. "Why has the book suddenly become easier to read? Up until now I've felt lost in the woods, one parable, then a miracle, then teaching that seemed to float free of what came before. I kept rereading, hunting for a single thread, but starting around chapter 19, and especially here in 20, it feels like a news report. The events just follow, chronological, grounded." Reid, who hosted and usually let the text do most of the leading, leaned forward with a small, knowing smile. He did not answer at once. He let the question stay in the air where it belonged. Joel Mercer, across from Grace, nodded before he had fully decided to speak. "I noticed the same thing. Like wandering a beautiful, dense forest, plenty of treasure, but you're not always sure which way the path means to take you. Then the trees thin. You're on a clear road, heading straight toward the city." Nora Wells, who had been in the study for years, smiled into her tea. Beside her, her husband Adrian gave a soft chuckle of recognition and met her eyes for half a second. The look of people who had walked the same trail of discovery years earlier and were glad to see it open under someone else's feet. June Okada sat a little quieter than the rest, fingers resting on the margin of her page. She did not rush to fill the silence. She only nodded once, as if Grace had named something she had felt but not yet said. "You're not alone in that, Grace," Nora said, kind without condescension. "That shift is one of the things I love most about Luke once you spot it. The first long stretch, especially that journey section, gathers so many stories and teachings to show what the kingdom looks like. Mercy, reversal, persistence in prayer, the cost of following. It can feel like wandering until you step back and see the larger ground." Adrian added, voice steady, "But once Jesus arrives in Jerusalem, the pace changes. The chronicle begins. You start seeing the days unfold. Entry into the city, the temple, these confrontations. The meal still ahead, the cross. It's still full of deep truth. The storyline just carries you forward the way a careful reporter walks beside events without inventing them." Reid leaned back, thoughtful and pleased. "Exactly. Luke signals it himself. When the days drew near for him to be taken up, he set his face to go to Jerusalem. Everything before builds foundation. These chapters show it lived out, step by step, authority tested, traps answered without flinching, a stone the builders reject becoming the cornerstone, a God of the living, not the dead. All of it heading toward the cross and the empty tomb. It's a gift when that click happens. Like the path was there, and light finally found it." Grace's shoulders eased. "It really does. I went from feeling a little lost to actually wanting the next page, like I'm watching history unfold instead of trying to force a puzzle to confess." The group murmured agreement. Someone shifted a mug. The candle flickered and steadied. June reached for a cookie and said lightly, almost as an afterthought, "Keep noticing those shifts. They're gifts, and there are still layers waiting in what comes next. Things that will tie right back to the woods in ways that make the road feel even clearer." Joel turned a page with his thumb, not reading yet, just feeling the weight of 20 behind them. "I needed those trails. I just didn't know it while I was still under the trees." Nora nodded. The woods were where the kingdom got its texture, mercy that finds, tables that reverse, prayer that doesn't quit, faith that stays tethered. Nothing in this book is filler. You just didn't know the map would tighten when the city came into view. Reid nodded. "Let's hold on to that as we move forward. The woods were good for discovery. The open road is good for seeing where it all leads." He glanced around the circle, not performing a close, simply offering the next step. "Who wants to read the beginning of chapter 21? Grace's hand was already on the page. "I will." She began, and the room settled into the easy rhythm of shared attention. Ancient words, ordinary chairs, summer air at the window. Outside, the evening had cooled into a quiet hush. Inside, the road was open, and they were on it together.